the incomparable. I can't tell you how happy I am to have her as my guest today. We have roses for her, but this is what they sent to me. Ethel Merman. I look in the paper. And I thought you'd think that, you know.
You're delightful.
I noticed in the paper that you had your birthday just a couple of days ago.
Yes, I did. Yeah, and
mine's the 9th.
Well, I didn't. Mine was the 16th.
Can you believe
I never knew that. I never
this?
knew that
We're both Capricorns,
How
you
about
say.
that? Oh, how darling.
Aren't they, though?
How darling.
They're really great. You put these back in the icebox for me, will you, darling? Because if I don't, what will happen is that everybody will take those away from you. Catch!
Sweet.
Ethel, I'm so happy. You know, there's an auspicious reason for Ethel being here. Here it is, a full page in the Sunday paper up here in San Francisco. Her son is here with the American Conservatory Theater. You tell him.
Yes, well, he's not performing. I mean, he's a stage manager. And I'm very, very proud of him. Eventually, he wants to direct.
One thing that I like to ask people in our theater, because I've talked to a great many people in show business who say, I don't want my kids to have any part of it. But if you had a grocery store, if you were a man, you had a grocery store, and your kid got old enough to take over, you'd change the name to Blackburn and Son, and nobody would think anything of it.
Well, how many people? I mean, in wholesale business, it goes down from generation to generation. It's
so why shouldn't it with us?
If it's in his blood and he wants to do it, let him do it.
Because there's not much else that we can
Because I wanted to do it.
Children.
My mother wanted me to be a school teacher, and I said, forget it. No, I'm going to go in the theater. And I started off, you know, just doing clubs, and I did it. So.
You know, I had, when David Merrick first decided to do Gypsy, Ethel was over at my house one day, and she said, you know, I want to do this. She said, I have a feeling for this. There's an awful lot in this book that is me. It's true, you know. There really and truly is, Ethel.
I never had the good fortune of meeting your mother, but she must have been a fabulous person.
Oh, that reminds me of this thing my sister said. Opening night, June went backstage with me to congratulate Ethel. Two of us were crying and all this, and June said, oh, Ethel, you were absolutely magnificent. You weren't mother, but you were magnificent. And Ethel said, well, after all, kid, I never met your mother.
I did the best I could.
Yes.
Trying to capture her.
You know, people have such different pictures of their mother. And Frank, I never thought of my mother as being Ethel Merman until I got to know you better. During rehearsals, really. It had nothing to do with the play.
Well, I mean, she was really a driver, as you know. I mean, but there was so much, she had so much heart, and whatever she did for the girls. I mean, all out for them. They were her life.
I have such funny reactions from people. Some people will say, gee, you must have hated your mother. And I don't know where there could be one word in that script that would give a person that feeling, because I loved my mother deeply.
I don't know how anybody could say that they hate their mother.
I got a lot of letters from people.
Really?
They say that I could never have written that book or that script if I had truly loved my mother. And I've always thought of it as sort of a monument to my mother.
Of course, which will live forever.
They invited me to come in and watch a rehearsal to have some pictures taken. And I can't go anywhere without my camera. They didn't know I had my camera because would you ever forget that furor?
Oh, dear. Well, yeah, because nobody's hair was dressed and we had no makeup on.
No, they weren't dressed for it. Nobody was really planning on it.
We were really dressed for rehearsal.
I was dressed, though. Wait till you see how I was dressed because they told me come on over and have your picture taken.
Well,
it took me 3 days to make up.
Oh, come on.
Hey, Marty, it takes a second, darling, for you to plug in the projector. Would you? Across the street from Minsky's, the New Amsterdam Theater. I took an elevator up to the roof, and there on the very top floor, they were rehearsing a play based on my life story. I sat in the very back row of the theater and watched them. The play was named Gypsy. That was Sandra Church, who was going to play me as a young girl, and Ethel Merman, who was going to play Mother. That walk. Like no one else in the world can walk like that. Jerome Robbins, the choreographer and director, and Sandra. I thought maybe if I got up on the stage on my side of the footlights, things would seem, more real. But they didn't really. Somehow I felt like a ghost at a banquet. Stephen Sondheim, who wrote those wonderful lyrics, and Julie Stein, who wrote the score, and Ethel. It was during these rehearsals that I realized that Ethel was really more like Mother than I thought she was. She has Mother's energy, her resourcefulness, most of all, her wonderful sense of humor. I had my picture taken. Wasn't much else for me to do. I went back out in the audience and sat in the very back row of the theater. It was just as well, because I never could watch any of this without crying. The two little girls who played my sister and me as children. The little girl who played June had to have her hair bleached for the role. So did my sister. It was so easy to sit there in the darkness and imagine that I could almost hear Mother's voice calling out to me. You know, this all led up to that night, May 21st, 1959, when I sat out in the theater and cried all through it. And people said, how can you be crying when this is such a moment of triumph for you? I think that's why I was crying, you know. I never watched you once that I didn't cry.